Welcome to A Narrative Language Skills, where we dive into the art of learning English through the power of storytelling. Engage your mind as we explore how tales like The Friendly Barista can not only entertain but also enhance your language proficiency. Discover new worlds within the walls of the Daily Grind, a cozy coffee shop where every cup of coffee tells a story. Meet memorable characters like Sarah and David, whose daily interactions are a treasure trove of conversational English. Unleash your creativity by observing how everyday dialogues can transform into captivating sketches of life. Stay tuned as we unravel the secrets to mastering English, one story at a time. Get ready to be inspired, learn, and grow with us. The early morning sun peeked through the windows of the Daily Grind coffee shop as Sarah Johnson arrived for her shift. She greeted her coworker Jake with a warm smile as she tied her apron around her waist. "Good morning. Ready for another busy day?" she asked cheerfully. Jake grinned back. "With you here, we can handle anything. Let's do this." They shared a laugh as they began preparing for the morning rush, the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee already filling the air. Sarah took a moment to breathe in the familiar scents of espresso and baked goods, feeling a sense of comfort wash over her. This cozy shop had become like a second home over the past few years. She glanced around at the mismatched furniture and local artwork adorning the exposed brick walls, her eyes finally landing on the well-worn wooden counter where she spent so much of her time. As the first customers began to trickle in, Sarah greeted them with her signature smile and friendly demeanor. "Good morning, Ethel," she called out to a petite, silver-haired woman who entered the shop. "The usual today? Earl Grey tea and a blueberry scone?" Ethel returned the smile, her eyes crinkling at the corners. "You know me so well, dear." "Thank you." She patted Sarah's hand affectionately as she took her tea and scone to her favorite table by the window. The morning continued in a blur of activity as Sarah crafted lattes, cappuccinos, and americanos, all while engaging in lively banter with her regulars. She noticed Mike, a middle-aged office worker, looking a bit frazzled as he approached the counter. "Rough morning, Mike?" Sarah asked sympathetically as she prepared his usual large black coffee. Mike sighed, running a hand through his thinning hair. "Just another day in the corporate grind." "You're a lifesaver, Sarah. I don't know how I'd face the day without my morning joe and a friendly face." Sarah handed him his coffee with an understanding smile. "Hang in there. Remember, you're stronger than you think. Have a great day, Mike." As Mike left, Sarah noticed a new face entering the shop, a handsome young man in a tailored suit, looking lost in thought. He approached the counter, and Sarah greeted him with a warm smile. "Welcome to the Daily Grind. What can I get started for you today?" The man looked up, his serious expression softening as he met Sarah's gaze. "Oh, I'll have a large Americano, please. Make it extra strong." As Sarah prepared his drink, she couldn't help but notice the tension in his shoulders and the weariness in his eyes. "Here you go, one extra strong Americano. I hope your day gets better from here," she said kindly as she handed him the cup. A flicker of surprise crossed his face, followed by a grateful smile. "Thank you, Sarah," he said, glancing at her name tag. "I appreciate it. I'm David, by the way. I work just down the street. It's nice to meet you, David. I hope we'll see you around here more often." Everyone could use a friendly face and a good cup of coffee to start their day. As David left, Sarah felt a spark of curiosity. There was something about him, a depth beneath the polished surface, that intrigued her. She shook her head, smiling to herself as she turned back to her work. Every day brought new people and new stories into her life, and she loved being a part of it all. During a brief lull, Sarah found herself sketching in her ever-present notebook quick impressions of Ethel's kind eyes, Mike's worn hands wrapped around his mug, the sharp lines of David's profile. Art had always been her passion, a bright thread woven through her life for as long as she could remember. "Hey, those are really good," Jake said, peering over her shoulder at the sketches. "You've got a gift, Sarah? Have you ever thought about doing something more with your art?" Sarah shrugged, a wistful smile playing on her lips. "It's just a hobby, Jake. I mean, sure, I've dreamed of being a real artist, maybe having my own show someday. But it's not practical. I need this job, and I love being here, being a part of people's lives in my own small way." Jake placed a hand on her shoulder, his expression serious. "Don't sell yourself short, Sarah. You've got talent, and you deserve to share it with the world. Promise me you'll at least think about it?" Before Sarah could respond, the phone rang, startling them both. Jake answered, his eyebrows rising as he listened. After a moment, he held out the phone to Sarah, a grin spreading across his face. "It's for you. Something about an art show?" Sarah's heart leaped into her throat as she took the phone, hardly daring to breathe. An art show? Could this be the chance she'd been dreaming of? As she listened to the voice on the other end, excitement and terror warred within her. This could change everything, but was she ready to take that leap? She glanced around the shop, taking in the warmth, the laughter, the sense of community she'd found here. Could she really balance her love for this place with her longing to pursue her art? With a deep breath, Sarah thanked the caller and hung up, her mind reeling. Jake looked at her expectantly, his eyes shining with excitement. "Well? What did they say?" Sarah managed a shaky smile, her heart pounding in her chest. "They want me to showcase my work at a local gallery next month. It's an amazing opportunity, but I don't know, Jake. What if I'm not ready? What if I can't handle it?" "You can do this, Sarah," Jake said firmly, grasping her shoulders. "This is your chance to make your dreams a reality. We'll all be here to support you, every step of the way. You've got this." As Sarah looked into her friend's eyes, seeing the unwavering belief and encouragement there, she felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. Maybe Jake was right. Maybe it was time to take a chance on herself and her art. With a deep breath and a nod, Sarah squared her shoulders, ready to face whatever the future held. The chapter ends with Sarah standing at the precipice of a new adventure, the promise of change and growth on the horizon. Will she find a way to balance her love for the coffee shop with her dreams of being an artist? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain, with the support of her friends and the strength of her own spirit, Sarah is ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead. Sarah was in the midst of the morning rush at the daily grind when a young man in a tailored suit caught her eye. He seemed lost in thought as he approached the counter, his brow furrowed with worry. Sarah greeted him with her usual warmth. "Good morning. What can I get for you today?" The man looked up, startled out of his reverie. "Oh, I'll have a large Americano, please." His voice was tight with stress. As Sarah prepared his coffee, she decided to strike up a conversation. "I don't think I've seen you in here before. Are you new to the area?" "Yeah, I just started working at the law firm down the street. I'm David, by the way." He managed a small smile. "It's great to meet you, David." "I'm Sarah." She handed him his coffee. I hope your new job is going well, though it seems like it might be a bit stressful. David sighed, running a hand through his dark hair. You can say that again. It's a lot of pressure, trying to prove myself at a new firm. Sometimes I wonder if I'm cut out for this. Sarah offered him an encouraging smile. I'm sure you're doing great. It's normal to feel overwhelmed when you're starting something new. Just remember to take care of yourself too, okay? David looked surprised but grateful for her words. Thanks, Sarah. I appreciate that. He glanced at his watch. I should get going, but it was really nice talking to you. Over the next few days, David became a regular at the daily grind, always ordering his large Americano and taking a few minutes to chat with Sarah. She looked forward to their brief exchanges, enjoying the way his face would light up as he talked about his love for hiking and photography. One morning, as Sarah handed David his usual order, she noticed the dark circles under his eyes. Rough night? She asked gently. David nodded, his shoulders sagging. I was up late working on a big case. I'm starting to wonder if I'm really meant for this high-powered corporate lawyer life. It's what my family always expected of me, but... He trailed off, shaking his head. Sarah leaned on the counter, listening intently. What would you rather be doing? Honestly? I've always dreamed of starting my own small legal practice, helping regular people with their day-to-day issues. But it feels like such a risk, walking away from the prestige and the paycheck. I know it's scary, Sarah said, thinking of her own artistic aspirations. But life's too short to spend it doing something that doesn't make you happy. You're clearly great at what you do. I bet you'd be an amazing lawyer on your own terms. David's eyes widened, a slow smile spreading across his face. You know, no one's ever put it to me quite like that before. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is time for a change. As David left the shop that day, Sarah couldn't help but feel a warmth in her chest. She knew all too well how it felt to be torn between practicality and passion. Seeing the glimmer of hope in David's eyes made her feel like maybe, just maybe, they could both find the courage to chase their dreams. Over the following weeks, Sarah and David continued to grow closer, their morning conversations becoming a highlight of Sarah's days. She admired his determination as he shared his plans to start mapping out his own legal practice. In turn, David was always eager to hear about her latest art projects, offering genuine encouragement and interest. One particularly hectic morning, David arrived looking more stressed than Sarah had ever seen him. His hair was disheveled and his tie askew. As she prepared his Americano, Sarah gently asked, "Hey, is everything okay? You seem really upset." David hesitated for a moment before sighing deeply. "It's this case I'm working on. It's a big one, and I'm just not sure I'm handling it the right way. There's so much riding on this, and I feel like I'm letting everyone down." Sarah came around the counter and guided David to a nearby table. She sat across from him, looking him straight in the eye. "David, listen to me. You are an incredible lawyer. I've seen how passionate and dedicated you are. No matter what happens with this case, it doesn't define your worth. You're doing your best, and that's all anyone can ask for." David's eyes shone with unshed tears. "Thank you, Sarah. I really needed to hear that today." He reached across the table and squeezed her hand, a gesture of gratitude and connection. As Sarah watched David leave the shop that morning, she couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted between them. What had started as friendly banter had deepened into a true bond, a source of mutual support and understanding. Just as Sarah was about to return to her work, she heard David's cell phone ring. She glanced over to see his face pale as he listened to the caller. With a hurried goodbye, David rushed out of the shop, leaving Sarah with a knot of worry in her stomach. She could only hope that whatever news he had received wasn't as bad as his expression suggested. Sarah spent the rest of her shift distracted, her thoughts continually drifting to David and whatever challenge he was facing. She realized then just how much she had come to care for him, not just as a regular customer, but as a true friend. As she closed up the shop that evening, Sarah sent a silent wish into the universe, hoping that David would find the strength and resilience to overcome whatever obstacles lay ahead. She knew, with unwavering certainty, that she would be there to support him every step of the way. Sarah was in the middle of preparing a latte when she noticed Ethel, one of her favorite regulars, walk into the daily grind. The elderly woman's usually bright smile was absent, replaced by a solemn expression that immediately caught Sarah's attention. As Ethel approached the counter, Sarah greeted her warmly. "Good morning, Ethel. Your usual Earl Grey tea?" Ethel nodded, her eyes downcast. "Yes, please." "Thank you, dear." Sarah couldn't help but feel concerned. "Is everything all right, Ethel? You seem a bit down today." Ethel sighed deeply, her shoulders sagging. "Oh, it's just been a difficult week. My husband, Walter, passed away a few months ago, and the grief comes in waves. Some days are harder than others." Sarah's heart ached for Ethel. She reached across the counter and gently placed her hand on Ethel's. "I'm so sorry for your loss, Ethel. I can't imagine how challenging this must be for you." Tears welled up in Ethel's eyes. "Thank you, Sarah. It means a lot to have someone to talk to. Walter and I were married for 50 years, and now it feels like a part of me is missing." As Sarah prepared Ethel's tea, she listened intently to the older woman's stories about her life with Walter. She learned about their love story, their adventures together, and the beautiful family they had raised. By the time Ethel left the shop, Sarah felt a deep admiration for the strength and resilience this woman possessed. Over the next few days, Sarah couldn't stop thinking about Ethel and how she could bring a little extra joy to her mornings. She remembered how her own father, an artist himself, would leave her little sketches and encouraging notes when she was feeling down. Inspired by this memory, Sarah began writing short, uplifting messages on Ethel's coffee cup sleeves each day. "Every sunrise brings a new beginning. Keep shining, Ethel," read one note, adorned with a small doodle of a smiling sun. "You are stronger than you know. Keep holding on to the beautiful memories," said another, accompanied by a delicate flower sketch. Ethel's face lit up each time she discovered Sarah's heartfelt messages. She would trace her fingers over the ink, a soft smile playing on her lips. The notes became a source of comfort and encouragement, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was still kindness and hope to be found. One particularly busy morning, as Sarah was rushing to keep up with the influx of orders, she felt a gentle tap on her shoulder. She turned to find Ethel standing there, holding a plate of homemade chocolate chip cookies. "I wanted to thank you, Sarah," Ethel said, her eyes glistening with tears. "Your daily notes have brought me more joy than you could possibly know. It's been a beacon of light during a very difficult time." Sarah hugged Ethel tightly, feeling a lump form in her throat. "It's been my pleasure, Ethel. You're an inspiration to me, and I'm so grateful for your friendship." As they shared the cookies with the other staff members, Sarah felt a warmth bloom in her chest. These moments of connection, of shared laughter and tears, were what made her work at the daily grind so meaningful. She knew that even the smallest acts of kindness could have a profound impact on someone's life. Later that afternoon, as Sarah was cleaning up the shop, her phone buzzed with an incoming call. She glanced at the screen, surprised to see her landlord's number. With a slight sense of trepidation, she answered the call. "Hello, Sarah. I'm calling to inform you that there will be a significant rent increase for your apartment starting next month. I understand this may come as a surprise, but it's in line with market rates in the area." Sarah felt her stomach drop. She was barely making ends meet as it was, juggling her full-time job at the coffee shop with her passion for art. A rent increase could mean having to give up her studio space, or worse, her apartment altogether. I understand. Thank you for letting me know," Sarah managed to say before ending the call, her mind reeling. She leaned against the counter, taking deep breaths to calm her racing heart. How was she going to handle this new financial burden? Would she have to put her artistic dreams on hold indefinitely? Sarah thought back to Ethel and the strength she had shown in the face of adversity. If Ethel could find the courage to keep moving forward after losing her beloved husband, surely Sarah could find a way to overcome this challenge. With a newfound sense of determination, Sarah squared her shoulders and began brainstorming solutions. She would talk to Jake and her other co-workers, see if anyone knew of more affordable housing options. She would look into selling some of her artwork online, or perhaps teaching art classes on the side. No matter what, Sarah refused to let this setback crush her spirit. She had worked too hard and come too far to give up on her dreams now. As she locked up the shop that evening, Sarah knew that with the support of her friends and the resilience she had cultivated, she would find a way to weather this storm and emerge even stronger on the other side. The door to Sarah's apartment creaked open as she stepped inside, exhausted from another long shift at the daily grind. She dropped her keys on the small table by the entrance and made her way to the living room, where her latest painting sat on an easel, bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun. Sarah smiled as she took in the vibrant colors and bold brushstrokes that brought the coffee shop's interior to life on the canvas. Painting was her escape, her way of processing the world around her and expressing the beauty she found in the everyday moments. As she settled onto the couch, Sarah reached for her laptop, eagerly checking her email for any responses to the gallery submissions she had sent out last week. Her heart sank as she read the first message. "Dear Ms. Johnson, thank you for your interest in our upcoming exhibition. While we appreciated the opportunity to review your work, we regret to inform you that your submission was not selected for inclusion in this show. We received a high volume of exceptional submissions, and our selection process was highly competitive. Please do not be discouraged, as we encourage you to continue developing your artistic skills and to consider submitting your work to future exhibitions. Best regards, the gallery team." Sarah felt a wave of disappointment wash over her. This was the third rejection she had received this month, and each one felt like a personal blow to her dreams of making it as an artist. She closed her laptop and leaned back on the couch, struggling to fight back tears. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting shadows across the room, Sarah's mind drifted to her late father. He had always been her biggest supporter, encouraging her to pursue her passion for art no matter what obstacles she faced. What would he think of her now, still working as a barista and struggling to get her foot in the door of the art world? The next morning, Sarah arrived at the daily grind, still feeling the weight of the previous night's rejection. As she tied her apron and began preparing for the morning rush, Jake noticed the sadness in her eyes. "Hey, Sarah, what's going on? You don't seem like your usual self today. Sarah sighed, leaning against the counter. I got another rejection last night, Jake. From the gallery I was really hoping would accept my work. I'm starting to wonder if I'm fooling myself, thinking I can make it as an artist. Jake placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. Sarah, you can't let a few rejections get you down. Your work is amazing, and I know you have what it takes to succeed. It's just a matter of time and perseverance. But what if I'm not good enough? What if I'm just wasting my time, chasing a dream that will never come true? Sarah's voice quivered as she voiced her deepest fears. Listen to me, Jake said firmly, looking Sarah in the eye. You are good enough. Your art speaks for itself, and anyone who can't see that doesn't deserve to have your work on their walls. Keep putting yourself out there, keep growing and learning, and the right opportunities will come. Sarah managed a small smile, touched by her friend's unwavering support. Thanks, Jake. I don't know what I'd do without you. As they worked side by side, Jake's words kept echoing in Sarah's mind. Maybe he was right. Maybe she just needed to keep pushing forward, no matter how many times she got knocked down. Later that afternoon, a new customer entered the shop, a woman with short, spiky hair and a friendly smile. She approached the counter and placed her order, then paused to admire the artwork on the walls. These paintings are incredible, she said, turning to Sarah. Do you know the artist? Sarah felt a blush creep into her cheeks. Actually, I painted those. I'm Sarah, by the way. The woman's eyes widened. You're kidding. I'm Emily, and I just opened a small art studio down the street. I've been looking for local artists to showcase, and your work is exactly the kind of thing I'm interested in. Would you be open to discussing a possible collaboration? Sarah's heart raced with excitement. Absolutely. I'd love to learn more about your studio and discuss how we could work together. As Emily gave Sarah her card and promised to be in touch, Sarah felt a renewed sense of hope and possibility. Maybe this was the break she had been waiting for, the chance to get her work in front of a new audience and connect with the local art community. Just as Sarah was about to head home for the night, her phone buzzed with an incoming call from her sister, Jenna. Sarah answered, surprised to hear the urgency in Jenna's voice. Sarah, I hate to ask this, but I really need your help. Mom had a bad fall and broke her hip. She's going to need a lot of assistance during her recovery, and I can't do it all on my own. Is there any way you could come back home for a few weeks, just until we get her settled? Sarah's mind reeled. She had responsibilities at the coffee shop, and she was just starting to make progress with her art. But her family needed her. She couldn't turn her back on them, not after everything they had been through together. Of course, Jenna. I'll talk to my boss tomorrow and figure out a way to make it work. Family comes first, always. As Sarah ended the call, she felt torn between her duty to her family and her own dreams and aspirations. She knew the coming weeks would be challenging, balancing her responsibilities at home with her work at the coffee shop and her artistic pursuits. But Sarah was no stranger to hard work and sacrifice. She had learned from an early age that nothing worth having came easy. With the support of her friends and the determination to pursue her passions, Sarah knew she would find a way to navigate this new chapter in her life. As she locked up the shop that night, Sarah took a deep breath, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. She knew that with love, perseverance, and a little bit of coffee, anything was possible. The morning rush at the daily grind was in full swing when Mike, a regular customer who worked at a nearby office, walked in. Sarah immediately noticed the tension in his shoulders and the deep frown lines etched on his forehead. As she prepared his usual order, a large black coffee with a splash of cream, Sarah couldn't help but feel concerned about his well-being. "Good morning, Mike," she greeted him warmly, handing over the steaming cup. "Is everything okay? You seem a bit stressed today." Mike managed a tight smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Just a rough morning, Sarah. Nothing to worry about." Sarah hesitated for a moment, sensing that there was more to the story. She had always had a knack for reading people, and right now, Mike looked like he could use a friendly ear. "You know, sometimes talking about what's bothering us can help lighten the load," she said gently, leaning on the counter. "I'm here to listen if you need someone to talk to." Mike sighed deeply, his shoulders sagging as if the weight of the world rested upon them. He glanced around the shop, taking in the bustling activity and the oblivious patrons, before turning back to Sarah. "I lost my job this morning," he confessed, his voice barely above a whisper. 20 years with the company, and they just let me go. "Budget cuts," they said. Sarah's heart ached for him. She couldn't imagine the shock and devastation he must be feeling. Losing a job was never easy, but after dedicating 2 decades to a company, it must have felt like a betrayal. "Mike, I'm so sorry," she said sincerely, reaching out to place a comforting hand on his arm. "That's an incredibly difficult thing to go through. I can only imagine how you must be feeling right now." Mike's eyes glistened with unshed tears. "I don't know what I'm going to do, Sarah. I have a mortgage, car payments, kids in college. How am I supposed to provide for my family?" Sarah took a deep breath, choosing her words carefully. "I know it seems overwhelming right now, but you're not alone in this. When I first moved to the city, I struggled to find my footing. I applied for countless jobs, faced rejection after rejection. There were moments when I wanted to give up, to pack my bags and go back home." Mike listened intently, his brow furrowed. "What made you stay?" "I realized that setbacks are a part of life," Sarah said, a small smile playing on her lips. "They don't define us. What defines us is how we choose to respond to them. I decided to keep pushing forward, to believe in myself even when it felt impossible. And little by little, things started to fall into place." A glimmer of hope flickered in Mike's eyes. "You make it sound so simple." "It's not simple," Sarah admitted. "But it is possible. You're a hardworking, dedicated person, Mike. Those qualities will serve you well as you navigate this new chapter. And in the meantime, lean on the people who care about you. Let them support you, just as you've supported them in the past." Mike nodded slowly, absorbing Sarah's words. "Thank you, Sarah. I needed to hear that today." As he turned to leave, Sarah had a sudden idea. She quickly grabbed a blueberry muffin from the display case and slipped it into a paper bag, along with a handwritten note. "Mike, wait," she called out, handing him the bag. "A little something to brighten your day. Remember, you're stronger than you know." Mike's eyes widened as he read the note, a genuine smile spreading across his face for the first time that morning. "You're an incredible person, Sarah. Thank you, from the bottom of my heart." As Mike left the shop, Sarah felt a warmth bloom in her chest. It was moments like these that reminded her why she loved her job so much. Being able to make a difference in someone's life, even in a small way, was a gift she cherished. Sarah thought back to her own struggles, the times when she had felt lost and alone in the big city. She remembered the kindness of strangers, the words of encouragement from unexpected places. Those moments had given her the strength to keep going, to believe in herself and her dreams. She realized then that her role at the daily grind was about so much more than serving coffee. It was about creating a space where people felt seen, heard, and valued. A place where a simple conversation or a small gesture could change the course of someone's day. As Sarah wiped down the counters and prepared for the next wave of customers, she silently vowed to continue being a light in the lives of those around her. She may not have all the answers, but she could always offer a listening ear, a kind word, and a reminder that no one had to face life's challenges alone. Just as Sarah was about to take her afternoon break, the door to the coffee shop swung open, revealing a familiar face. It was Emily, the local artist she had met a few weeks earlier. "Sarah, I have incredible news," Emily exclaimed, practically bouncing with excitement. "I secured a spot in the citywide art exhibition next month. It's one of the most prestigious shows in the area, and I want you to be my guest of honor." Sarah's eyes widened, a mix of joy and surprise washing over her. "Emily, that's amazing. Congratulations. I'm so honored that you'd think of me." Emily grinned, clasping Sarah's hands in her own. "Of course I thought of you. Your support and encouragement have meant the world to me. I wouldn't be where I am today without our chats and your unwavering belief in my work." Sarah felt a lump form in her throat, touched by Emily's words. "I'm so proud of you, Emily. You've worked so hard for this, and you deserve every bit of success that comes your way." As Emily rattled off the details of the exhibition, Sarah's mind began to race. The date of the show conflicted with her sister's long-awaited graduation ceremony, a milestone event that Sarah had promised to attend months ago. Sarah's heart sank as she realized the difficult decision she now faced. She couldn't bear the thought of letting Emily down, not after all the support and encouragement she had given her. But her family needed her, too. Her sister had been looking forward to sharing this special day with Sarah for years. Emily noticed the sudden change in Sarah's demeanor. "Sarah, is everything okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." Sarah took a deep breath, trying to compose herself. "I'm so grateful for the invitation, Emily. It means the world to me. But the date of the exhibition, it conflicts with my sister's graduation. I promised her I would be there, and I don't know how I can break that promise." Emily's face softened with understanding. "Oh, Sarah. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize." Sarah shook her head, fighting back tears. "No, don't apologize. This is an incredible opportunity for you, and I'm so proud of everything you've accomplished. I need some time to think, to figure out what to do." Emily pulled Sarah into a tight hug, her voice gentle and reassuring. "Take all the time you need. I know how much your family means to you, and I would never want you to compromise that. Whatever you decide, I will support you 100%. As Emily left the shop, Sarah felt torn between her personal and professional aspirations. She had always dreamed of being part of the art world, of supporting and uplifting fellow creatives. But her family was her foundation, the very reason she had found the courage to pursue her dreams in the first place. Sarah knew that the coming days would be filled with difficult conversations and soul-searching. She would need to dig deep within herself to find the answer that felt true to her heart. But as she looked around the daily grind, taking in the warmth and love that filled every corner, Sarah knew one thing for certain: whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them with the strength, resilience, and compassion that had brought her this far. And with the unwavering support of the community she had found within these walls, she knew that anything was possible. The morning sun streamed through the large windows of the daily grind, casting a warm glow over the bustling coffee shop. Sarah was in the midst of crafting a latte when she heard a familiar voice call her name. "Sarah, hey. How's it going?" Emily, the local artist Sarah had met a few weeks prior, approached the counter with a smile. Sarah returned the smile, setting the latte on the counter for a waiting customer. "Emily, it's great to see you." "I'm doing well, just staying busy." "What brings you in today?" Emily leaned against the counter, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I wanted to share some good news with you. Remember that art show I mentioned? I just found out I've been selected to participate." Sarah's face lit up with genuine joy. "Emily, that's fantastic. Congratulations. I know how much this means to you." Emily beamed, her happiness infectious. "Thank you, Sarah. It's a dream come true. I've been working towards this for years, and now it's finally happening." As Sarah prepared Emily's usual order, a soy cappuccino with an extra shot of espresso, she couldn't help but feel a twinge of envy. She was thrilled for Emily's success, but it also highlighted the stagnation in her own artistic pursuits. Emily must have noticed the flicker of emotion on Sarah's face because she tilted her head, studying her thoughtfully. "You know, Sarah, I've been thinking. Your artwork is incredible, and I truly believe you have what it takes to make it in this industry. Have you ever considered showcasing your work at an event like this?" Sarah nearly dropped the cappuccino she was handing to Emily. "Me? Oh, I don't know, Emily. I'm just a hobbyist, really. I'm not sure my art is ready for that kind of exposure." Emily shook her head, her expression serious. "Don't sell yourself short, Sarah. Your talent is undeniable. In fact, I have a proposition for you." Sarah's heart raced as she listened intently, trying to quell the hope rising in her chest. "I'd like to offer you the chance to display some of your pieces at the art show alongside my work," Emily said, her voice filled with conviction. "I truly believe in your potential, and I think this could be an incredible opportunity for you to get your name out there." Sarah's mind reeled with the implications of Emily's offer. The chance to showcase her art at a prestigious event, to have her work seen by collectors, critics, and fellow artists. It was everything she had ever dreamed of. But then reality came crashing down, and Sarah remembered the family event she was supposed to attend on the same day as the art show. Her sister's graduation ceremony, a milestone she had promised to be there for. Sarah's shoulders slumped as she tried to find the right words. "Emily, I'm incredibly honored by your offer. Truly, it means the world to me that you believe in my work. But the timing, it conflicts with a very important family commitment. My sister's graduation is on the same day, and I promised her I would be there." Emily's face softened with understanding. "I see. Family is important, and I would never want you to jeopardize those relationships. But Sarah, I want you to consider something. Your art, your passion, it's a part of who you are. And sometimes, in order to grow and flourish, we have to take risks and step outside our comfort zones." Sarah nodded slowly, absorbing Emily's words. She knew there was truth in what she said, but the thought of disappointing her family weighed heavily on her heart. As if reading her thoughts, Emily reached across the counter and squeezed Sarah's hand. "Just promise me you'll think about it, okay? Don't let fear hold you back from pursuing your dreams. You have a gift, Sarah, and the world deserves to see it." With a final smile, Emily took her cappuccino and headed out of the shop, leaving Sarah lost in thought. Later that day, during a lull in the afternoon rush, Sarah found herself confiding in Jake about the difficult decision she faced. "I just don't know what to do, Jake," she sighed, absently wiping down the counter. "This art show could be a game changer for my career, but I can't bear the thought of letting my sister down." Jake leaned against the counter, his expression thoughtful. "Sarah, I've known you for years, and I've seen how passionate you are about your art. It's not just a hobby for you, it's a part of your soul." Sarah looked up at him, surprised by the depth of his understanding. "I know your family means the world to you," Jake continued, "but I also know that they want you to be happy and fulfilled. Have you considered talking to your sister about this? Explaining how important this opportunity is to you?" Sarah bit her lip, considering Jake's suggestion. "I guess I've been afraid of her reaction. I don't want her to think I'm choosing my art over our family." Jake smiled softly. "Give your sister some credit, Sarah. She loves you and wants the best for you. I have a feeling that if you're honest with her about your dreams and aspirations, she'll understand and support you, even if it means you can't be there for her graduation." Sarah felt a glimmer of hope at Jake's words. Maybe he was right. Maybe she needed to have faith in the strength of her family bonds and trust that they would stand by her, no matter what. As the day wore on, Sarah found herself gravitating towards Ethel, the wise and compassionate elderly regular who had become a confidant and friend. Over a cup of chamomile tea, Sarah poured out her heart, sharing her conflicting emotions about the art show and her family obligations. Ethel listened intently, her eyes filled with warmth and understanding. When Sarah finished, Ethel reached across the table and patted her hand. "My dear Sarah," she began, her voice soft and soothing, "I've lived a long life, and if there's one thing I've learned, it's that we must always stay true to ourselves. There will be times when our dreams and our responsibilities seem at odds, but it's in those moments that we must look deep within and listen to our hearts." Sarah felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes, moved by Ethel's wisdom. "When I was young, I had a similar choice to make," Ethel continued, a wistful smile on her face. "I had the opportunity to pursue my dream of becoming a writer, but it meant leaving my family and the life I knew behind. It was the hardest decision I ever made, but I knew in my heart that I had to follow my passion." Sarah leaned forward, captivated by Ethel's story. "My family, bless their hearts, didn't understand at first. They thought I was being selfish, turning my back on them. But over time, they came to see that my writing was a part of who I was, and that by pursuing it, I was becoming the best version of myself." Ethel squeezed Sarah's hand, her eyes shining with emotion. "What I'm trying to say, Sarah, is that your family loves you unconditionally. They want you to be happy and fulfilled. And if you approach them with honesty, openness, and love, they will understand and support you, even if it means making some sacrifices along the way." Sarah felt a weight lift from her shoulders as Ethel's words sank in. She realized that she had been letting fear guide her decisions, rather than trusting in the love and understanding of those closest to her. With a newfound sense of clarity and purpose, Sarah made a decision. She would seize the opportunity Emily had offered her and participate in the art show. And she would have an honest, heartfelt conversation with her sister, explaining her choice and reaffirming her love and commitment to their family. As Sarah helped Ethel gather her things and walk her to the door, she felt a surge of gratitude for the incredible people in her life, the friends, mentors, and loved ones who believed in her and supported her dreams. Just as Sarah was about to head back behind the counter, her phone buzzed with an incoming text message. She glanced at the screen, expecting it to be a reminder from Jake about the upcoming supply order. But as she read the words on the screen, Sarah felt her blood run cold. It was a message from her sister, and its contents had the power to change everything. With shaking hands, Sarah opened the message, her heart pounding in her chest. As she read the unexpected news, she realized that her carefully laid plans and newfound resolve were about to be put to the ultimate test. The chapter ends with Sarah staring at her phone, her world suddenly turned upside down by the revelations in her sister's message. Readers are left wondering what the news could be and how it will impact Sarah's decision to pursue her artistic dreams, while maintaining the bonds of family and friendship that have sustained her through life's challenges. Sarah stared at the text message on her phone, her heart sinking with each word. It was from her sister, bearing news she had never expected to receive. "Mom's in the hospital. She fell and broke her hip. We need you here, Sarah. Please come as soon as you can." Sarah felt her world tilt on its axis. Her mother, the pillar of strength and love in their family, was hurt and in need of support. And here she was, hundreds of miles away, preparing for an art show that suddenly seemed trivial in comparison. With shaking hands, Sarah typed out a reply, promising to make arrangements and be there as soon as possible. She took a deep breath, trying to steady herself, but the weight of her conflicting responsibilities pressed down on her chest like a physical force. How could she possibly balance her commitment to the art show with her family's needs? The thought of letting anyone down, her mother, her sister, Emily, the coffee shop regulars who had become like family, made Sarah's stomach churn with anxiety. As she arrived at the daily grind the next morning, Sarah felt like a shell of herself. She moved through her usual routine mechanically, her mind a million miles away. The chatter of customers and the hiss of the espresso machine faded into a distant buzz, as Sarah struggled to focus on the tasks at hand. It was only a matter of time before her distraction caught up with her. As Sarah prepared David's usual Americano, her hand slipped, sending the steaming coffee cascading over the edge of the cup and onto David's crisp white shirt. "Oh my God, David, I'm so sorry." Sarah gasped, grabbing a towel and rushing to help him clean up. "I don't know what's wrong with me today. I'm so sorry." David looked up at Sarah, concern etched on his face. "Hey, it's okay. It's just a shirt. Are you all right, Sarah? You seem really upset." Sarah bit her lip, fighting back tears. She hadn't meant to unload her troubles on David, but his kindness and gentle inquiry were too much to resist. "I got some bad news last night," she confessed, her voice wavering. "My mom's in the hospital, and my sister needs me to come home to help out. But with the art show coming up and everything going on here, I don't know how I'm going to manage it all." David's expression softened with understanding. He placed a comforting hand on Sarah's shoulder, his touch a warm and steadying presence. "Sarah, listen to me. Family always comes first. Your mom needs you right now, and that's where you should be. The art show, the coffee shop, it will all still be here when you get back." Sarah shook her head, a tear escaping down her cheek. "But I've worked so hard for this opportunity, and I don't want to let Emily down. And what about my regulars? They count on me to be here, to brighten their days. I feel like I'm failing everyone." David looked Sarah straight in the eye, his gaze unwavering. "You could never fail anyone by being there for your family. Your regulars, Emily, everyone who cares about you, they'll understand. You're not superhuman, Sarah. It's okay to need help and support sometimes. Sarah took a shuddering breath, letting David's words sink in. Deep down, she knew he was right. Her family needed her, and that had to come first. But the thought of stepping back from her dreams, even temporarily, still stung. As the day wore on, Sarah found herself turning to Jake for guidance. During a lull in the afternoon rush, she pulled him aside, pouring out her fears and doubts. Jake, I don't know if I can do this. The art show, my mom, the shop, it's all too much. Maybe I'm not cut out for this artist's life after all. Jake's eyes widened in surprise. Whoa, hold up there, Sarah. You're one of the most talented, driven people I know. You've poured your heart and soul into your art, and it shows. Don't let a setback, even a big one like this, make you doubt yourself. Sarah sighed, running a hand through her hair. But what if I can't handle it all? What if I let everyone down? Jake placed both hands on Sarah's shoulders, his gaze intense and sincere. Sarah, you could never let us down. We're your friends, your community. We're here to support you, no matter what. If you need to take a step back to be with your family, we'll be right here cheering you on and holding down the fort until you get back. Sarah felt a surge of gratitude for Jake's unwavering support. She hugged him tightly, drawing strength from his solid presence. Thank you, Jake. I don't know what I'd do without you. As Sarah closed up the shop that evening, she took a moment to sit quietly, allowing herself to process the whirlwind of emotions and challenges the day had brought. She thought about her mother, the woman who had raised her with love and sacrifice, who had always been her biggest cheerleader. She thought about her sister, shouldering the burden of their mother's care alone, needing Sarah's support now more than ever. And she thought about her own dreams, the art show that represented a culmination of years of hard work and dedication. The opportunity to share her vision with the world, to make her mark as an artist. Sarah realized then that her family and her dreams were not mutually exclusive. They were both integral parts of who she was, and she would find a way to honor both. It wouldn't be easy, but with the support of her friends and the strength of her own convictions, Sarah knew she could weather this storm. Just as Sarah was locking up the shop, her phone buzzed with an incoming call. She glanced at the screen, surprised to see a familiar name, Liam O'Connor, her childhood best friend. Liam? Sarah answered, curiosity and warmth flooding her voice. It's been ages. How are you? Hey, Sar, Liam's voice was warm and excited on the other end of the line. I'm actually in town for a few days, and I heard through the grapevine that you've got a big art show coming up. I just wanted to call and tell you how incredibly proud I am of you. Sarah felt a rush of emotion at Liam's words. He had been there for her through so many pivotal moments in her life, a constant source of encouragement and belief in her dreams. Thank you, Liam. That means the world to me. But things have gotten complicated. My mom's in the hospital, and I'm not sure if I can go through with the show. There was a pause on the other end of the line, and then Liam spoke, his voice gentle but firm. Sarah, do you remember when we were kids, and we used to talk about all the amazing things we were going to do when we grew up? You were always the artist, the one with the big, bold visions. You can't give up on that now. Sarah felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. But my family needs me, Liam. I can't just abandon them. Of course not, Liam agreed. But you can't abandon yourself either. Your art, your dreams, they're a part of you, Sarah. And I know your family wants you to embrace that part of yourself, just as much as they need your love and support. Sarah was silent for a long moment, letting Liam's words wash over her. He was right. Her family had always been her biggest supporters, her most ardent cheerleaders. They would want her to find a way to balance her dreams with her responsibilities, to not lose sight of herself in the face of adversity. "Thank you, Liam," Sarah said softly, her voice thick with emotion. "I needed to hear that. I've been so torn, so unsure of what to do. But you're right. I can't give up on my dreams. I won't." The conversation with Liam left Sarah feeling invigorated, her passion and determination reignited. She knew the road ahead would be challenging, that she would have to find a way to support her family while still pursuing her art. But with the love and encouragement of her friends and the fire of her own convictions burning bright, Sarah felt ready to face whatever lay ahead. As she made her way home that night, Sarah's mind was already racing with ideas and plans. She would talk to Emily, explain the situation and see if they could find a way to make the art show work, even if Sarah had to step back for a bit. She would lean on Jake and her other co-workers to help keep the coffee shop running smoothly in her absence. And most importantly, she would be there for her family, a pillar of strength and love, just as they had always been for her. Sarah knew that together, they could weather any storm, overcome any obstacle. With a deep breath and a heart full of hope, Sarah stepped into the unknown, ready to embrace the challenges and triumphs that lay ahead. She was an artist, a daughter, a sister, a friend, and she would find a way to honor all of those roles, to build a life that reflected the fullness of her spirit and the depth of her dreams. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the gentle chatter of patrons filled the air as Sarah settled into a cozy corner table at a local cafe. She glanced at her watch, eager anticipation building in her chest as she awaited the arrival of a familiar face from her past. "Sarah, look at you, all grown up and even more beautiful than I remember." Sarah turned to see Liam, her childhood best friend, grinning at her from across the room. She stood to greet him, and they embraced, the years melting away in an instant. As they settled into their seats, steaming mugs of coffee before them, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at the man Liam had become. He exuded a quiet confidence, his eyes sparkling with the same mischievous charm she remembered from their youth. "So, Mr. Hotshot Author," Sarah teased, "tell me all about your latest literary masterpiece. I've been seeing your name on bestseller lists left and right." Liam chuckled, a hint of humility in his smile. "It's been a wild ride, Sar. I never imagined my stories would resonate with so many people. But you know, it hasn't been all smooth sailing." He went on to share tales of the challenges he'd faced on his journey, the countless rejections, the sleepless nights spent hunched over his keyboard, the moments of self-doubt that threatened to derail his dreams. Sarah listened intently, finding solace in Liam's words. She recognized her own struggles in his story, the fear and uncertainty that came with pursuing a creative path. "But you know what kept me going?" Liam asked, his gaze intense. "It was the belief that my stories mattered. That somewhere out there, someone needed to hear what I had to say. And that's what you have to hold on to, Sarah. Your art, your vision, it matters." Sarah felt a lump form in her throat, touched by Liam's unwavering support. As they finished their coffee, Liam suggested a walk through their old neighborhood, a chance to revisit the places that had shaped their childhood dreams. The sun danced through the leaves of the giant oak trees that lined the quiet streets, casting dappled shadows on the sidewalk. Sarah and Liam strolled side by side, their conversation flowing easily, punctuated by bursts of laughter as they recalled shared memories. Remember when your dad set up that improvised art studio in your backyard? Liam asked, a wistful smile on his face. He was so proud of you, Sarah. He knew even then that you had a special gift. Sarah swallowed hard, her heart aching with the bittersweet memory. He was my biggest cheerleader, she said softly. I miss him every day. Liam placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. He believed in you, Sarah. And he would want you to keep believing in yourself, no matter how tough things get. As they walked, Sarah found herself opening up to Liam about the challenges she'd been facing, the pressure of the upcoming art show, the guilt she felt over her family obligations, the nagging fear that she might not have what it takes to succeed. Liam listened attentively, his brow furrowed in concentration. When Sarah finished, he took a deep breath and turned to face her. Sarah, I know it feels like you're being pulled in a million different directions right now. But I want you to remember something. Your art, your passion, it's not a selfish pursuit. It's a part of who you are, and sharing it with the world is a gift. He placed his hands on her shoulders, his gaze intense and sincere. Your dad knew that. He saw the light in you, the way your creativity could touch people's lives. And by honoring that light, by staying true to your dreams, you're honoring his memory too. Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes as the truth of Liam's words sank in. She had been so focused on the obstacles in her path that she had lost sight of the deeper meaning behind her art. You know, Liam said, a hint of excitement in his voice, I've been working on a new novel. And it's inspired by our childhood, by the way your dad's love and support shaped us both. Sarah's eyes widened in surprise. Really? Liam, that's incredible. Liam nodded, a proud smile on his face. It's a tribute to the power of creativity, to the bonds of family and friendship. And in a way, it's a love letter to your dad, to the legacy he left behind. As they made their way back to the cafe, Sarah felt a renewed sense of purpose. Liam's words had reignited the spark within her, reminding her of the reasons she had fallen in love with art in the first place. She thought of her father, of the countless hours they had spent together in his studio, laughing and creating and dreaming of the future. She realized then that by embracing her own artistic journey, she was keeping his spirit alive, honoring the gifts he had nurtured within her. With a newfound clarity and determination, Sarah hugged Liam goodbye, grateful for the unexpected gift of his friendship and wisdom. As she made her way back to the daily grind, Sarah felt a lightness in her step, a sense of hope and possibility that had been missing in recent weeks. She was ready to face the challenges ahead, to find a way to balance her personal and professional aspirations, and to share her art with the world. But as she stepped through the doors of the coffee shop, Sarah overheard a conversation that made her heart sink. Two customers were discussing the recent sale of a beloved local art gallery, a space that had been a hub for the city's creative community for decades. I heard the new owners are planning to turn it into luxury condos, one woman said, shaking her head in dismay. It's such a shame. So many artists relied on that gallery for exposure and support. Sarah felt a knot form in her stomach as she processed the news. The art gallery had been a beacon of hope for so many local artists, a place where they could showcase their work and connect with others who shared their passion. She thought of Emily, of the countless other creatives who had poured their hearts and souls into their craft, only to face an uncertain future in a city that seemed increasingly hostile to the arts. As Sarah tied her apron and began her shift, her mind raced with questions. What would this mean for the local art scene? How could she and her fellow artists adapt and thrive in the face of such challenges? And most importantly, What role could she play in supporting and uplifting her creative community during this time of change and uncertainty? Sarah knew that the answers wouldn't come easily. But as she looked around at the familiar faces of her customers, at the artwork that adorned the walls of the daily grind, she felt a renewed sense of purpose and determination. She would find a way to participate in the art show, to be there for her family, and to use her talents to make a difference in the world. Because now more than ever, Sarah understood the power of art to heal, to inspire, and to bring people together. And with the love and support of her friends, her family, and the community she had found within these walls, Sarah knew that anything was possible. The morning sun cast a warm glow through the windows of the daily grind as Sarah arrived for her shift, a spring in her step and a smile on her face. The news of her upcoming art show had been buzzing in her mind, filling her with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. As she tied her apron and began preparing for the day, Sarah couldn't help but feel a surge of gratitude for the community that had embraced her and her artistic dreams. She knew that the support of her regular customers and friends had played a significant role in giving her the courage to pursue this opportunity. With a deep breath, Sarah stepped up to the counter, ready to share her news with the familiar faces that had become such an integral part of her life. "Good morning, everyone," she greeted warmly, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "I have some exciting news to share with you all." The regulars looked up from their morning papers and laptops, their curiosity piqued by Sarah's announcement. "As some of you may know, I've been working on my art for quite some time now," Sarah continued, her voice trembling slightly with emotion. "And I'm thrilled to say that I've been invited to showcase my work at a local art show next month." A chorus of congratulations and applause erupted from the customers, their faces beaming with genuine pride and support. "Sarah, that's incredible!" David exclaimed, rising from his seat to give her a heartfelt hug. "I always knew you had a special talent. I wouldn't miss your show for the world." Sarah felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes, overwhelmed by David's kindness and the outpouring of support from the others. Ethel, her eyes glistening with emotion, reached out to clasp Sarah's hand. "My dear, I am so proud of you. You have brought so much joy and light into my life, and I would be honored to attend your show and support you in any way I can." Sarah squeezed Ethel's hand, feeling a lump form in her throat. "Thank you, Ethel. Your support means more to me than you could possibly know." As the news spread throughout the shop, Sarah was touched by the genuine enthusiasm and encouragement from her regular customers. They had become more than just familiar faces, they were a part of her extended family, and their belief in her dreams meant the world. Mike, who had recently found a new job with Sarah's encouragement, approached the counter with a determined smile. "Sarah, I want to help spread the word about your show. I know a lot of people in the business community who appreciate art, and I'd be happy to let them know about your work." Sarah's heart swelled with gratitude. "Mike, that's so generous of you. I can't thank you enough for your support, especially after everything you've been through recently." Mike shook his head, his eyes filled with warmth. "You were there for me during one of the toughest times in my life, Sarah. Your kindness and encouragement helped me find the strength to keep going. This is the least I can do to show my appreciation." As the day went on, Sarah found herself energized by the outpouring of support from her community. She threw herself into her work, both at the coffee shop and on her art, with renewed passion and determination. Late into the night, Sarah worked in her small studio apartment, refining her pieces and envisioning the impact they might have on those who viewed them. As she lost herself in the flow of creativity, She couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey that had brought her to this moment. She thought of her father, who had always believed in her talent and encouraged her to pursue her dreams. She thought of Jake, her coworker and friend, who had been a constant source of support and laughter. And she thought of the countless customers who had become an integral part of her life, each one contributing to the rich tapestry of her experiences. With each brushstroke, Sarah poured her heart and soul into her art, knowing that she was not alone in this pursuit. She had a community of people who believed in her, who saw the value in her creations and the power of human connection. In the days leading up to the art show, Sarah sought out opportunities to connect with the local art community. She attended a gathering of artists eager to learn from and be inspired by her peers. As she walked into the event space, Sarah was struck by the energy and passion that filled the room. Artists of all ages and backgrounds mingled, discussing their work and sharing ideas. Sarah felt a sense of belonging wash over her, a recognition that she was part of something larger than herself. Throughout the evening, Sarah engaged in conversations with her fellow artists, listening intently to their stories and experiences. She gained valuable insights into the challenges and rewards of the creative life, as well as a deeper understanding of the role that art played in shaping and enriching communities. One artist, a woman in her 50s named Meredith, pulled Sarah aside and shared her own journey. "When I first started out, I was so focused on creating art that would sell, that would make me famous," Meredith confided. "But over time, I realized that the true power of art lies in its ability to connect us, to spark conversations and emotions that transcend the individual." Sarah nodded, her heart swelling with understanding. "I've seen that firsthand at the coffee shop," she replied. "The way that my art has brought people together, fostered new friendships and strengthened existing ones. It's been one of the most rewarding parts of this whole experience." Meredith smiled, her eyes twinkling with wisdom. "Hold on to that, Sarah. That connection, that sense of purpose. It will sustain you through the ups and downs of the artistic journey." As the evening drew to a close, Sarah felt a renewed sense of excitement and purpose. She knew that she was not just creating art for herself, but for a community that valued and supported her vision. The night before the art show, Sarah was putting the finishing touches on her pieces when her phone buzzed with an incoming call. She glanced at the screen, surprised to see Robert's name. "Sarah, I hope I'm not calling too late," Robert began, his voice filled with warmth. "I just wanted to let you know how proud I am of you and all that you've accomplished." Sarah felt a smile spread across her face. "Thank you, Robert. That means the world to me. I couldn't have done it without the support of everyone at the Daily Grind." There was a pause on the other end of the line, and Sarah sensed that Robert had something more to say. "Sarah, I've been thinking a lot about the future of the coffee shop," Robert continued, his tone turning serious. "I've watched you grow and develop over these past few years, not just as an artist but as a leader and a pillar of our community." Sarah's heart began to race, unsure of where this conversation was heading. "I've been considering retirement," Robert revealed, "and I can't think of anyone better suited to take over the Daily Grind than you, Sarah. Your creativity, your dedication to the community, and your ability to bring people together. These are the qualities that have made our shop so special." Sarah felt her breath catch in her throat, stunned by Robert's words. "Robert, I don't know what to say. This is an incredible opportunity, but She trailed off, her mind reeling with the implications of this offer. On the one hand, the chance to deepen her impact on the community she loved, to continue fostering the connections and creativity that had become so integral to her life was a dream come true. But on the other hand, Sarah had always envisioned herself as a full-time artist, pouring her heart and soul into her creations and sharing them with the world. Could she balance the demands of running a business with her artistic pursuits? "I know it's a lot to consider," Robert said gently, sensing Sarah's hesitation. "But I want you to know that I believe in you, Sarah. And I know that with your vision and your heart, the daily grind would be in the best possible hands." Sarah swallowed hard, her mind racing with possibilities and doubts. "Thank you, Robert. I'm honored by your faith in me. Can I have some time to think about it?" "Of course," Robert replied, his voice filled with understanding. "Take all the time you need. Just know that whatever you decide, you have my full support and gratitude for all that you've brought to our community." As the call ended, Sarah felt a mixture of exhilaration and uncertainty wash over her. She had always dreamed of making a difference through her art, but could she do the same as the owner of the daily grind? With her mind spinning and her heart full, Sarah knew that she had a difficult decision to make. But for now, she had to focus on the art show, on sharing her creations with the world and celebrating the community that had lifted her up and believed in her dreams. As she drifted off to sleep that night, Sarah's thoughts were filled with visions of the future, of the countless possibilities that lay ahead. And though the path forward was unclear, one thing was certain: with the love and support of her community, Sarah knew that she could face any challenge and emerge stronger, more inspired, and more connected than ever before. The crisp evening air buzzed with anticipation as Sarah stepped out of the taxi and onto the sidewalk in front of the art gallery. She smoothed the fabric of her simple black dress, taking a moment to steady her nerves before approaching the entrance. As she pushed open the heavy glass doors, Sarah was immediately struck by the transformation of the space. The once stark white walls were now adorned with her artwork, each piece carefully arranged and expertly lit to showcase the vibrant colors and intricate details. Sarah moved through the gallery, her heels clicking softly against the polished concrete floor. She paused before each painting, taking in the fruits of her labor and the countless hours she had poured into her craft. There was the large canvas depicting the bustling interior of the daily grind, alive with the energy and warmth of the coffee shop's regulars. Beside it hung a series of smaller paintings, each one an intimate portrait of the people who had become such an integral part of Sarah's life: David, Ethel, Mike, and so many others. As Sarah stood before her work, a sense of pride and accomplishment swelled within her. For so long, she had doubted her abilities, questioning whether she had what it took to make it as an artist. But here, in this moment, surrounded by the tangible evidence of her talent and dedication, those doubts began to melt away. The sound of familiar voices drew Sarah's attention, and she turned to see a group of her coffee shop regulars entering the gallery. David led the way, his face breaking into a wide grin as he spotted Sarah. "Sarah, this is incredible," he exclaimed, pulling her into a warm hug. "I always knew you had a gift, but seeing your work like this, it's truly remarkable." Ethel followed close behind, her eyes misty with emotion as she surveyed the paintings. "Oh, my dear, I'm so proud of you," she whispered, clasping Sarah's hands in her own. "Your art, it's a reflection of the beautiful soul you have, the way you see the world and the people in it." One by one, Sarah's regulars approached her, offering words of praise and admiration. Mike, who had recently landed a new job with Sarah's encouragement, expressed his gratitude for her unwavering support and the inspiration she had provided. "You've shown me what it means to chase your dreams, Sarah," he said, his voice thick with emotion. No matter how tough things get, you never give up. That's a lesson I'll carry with me always. As the evening progressed, Sarah found herself engaged in conversations with art enthusiasts and fellow creatives, discussing her techniques and the stories behind each piece. She was thrilled to learn that several of her paintings had already sold, marking her first significant success as a professional artist. Amidst the buzz of the crowd, Sarah felt a gentle tap on her shoulder. She turned to find an elderly gentleman, his eyes filled with a mix of joy and nostalgia. "Forgive me for interrupting," he began, his voice soft and tremulous, "but I wanted to tell you how much your artwork has touched me. That painting over there, the one with the couple sitting by the window, it reminds me so much of my late wife and the happy times we shared together." Sarah felt her heart swell with emotion as the man shared his story, describing the laughter and love that had filled his marriage, and the void that had been left in his wife's absence. "To see those moments captured so beautifully in your art, it's like a piece of her is still here with me," he said, a single tear trailing down his weathered cheek. "Thank you for that gift, for the reminder that love never truly dies." Sarah embraced the man, humbled and moved by the profound impact her work had on others. In that moment, she understood with perfect clarity the power of art to forge connections, to heal wounds, and to celebrate the beauty of the human experience. As the night drew to a close, Sarah found herself surrounded by her closest friends and supporters, their faces aglow with pride and affection. Jake, who had been by her side through every twist and turn of her journey, raised a glass in toast. "To Sarah," he declared, his voice ringing out through the gallery, "for having the courage to chase her dreams, and the talent to make them a reality. We're all so incredibly proud of you, and we can't wait to see what you'll create next." Laughter and cheers filled the air as the group clinked their glasses, the sound a joyous celebration of Sarah's achievement and the unbreakable bonds of friendship and community. In the midst of the merriment, Sarah felt her phone buzz in her purse. She stepped away from the group, her brow furrowing as she saw her sister's name on the caller ID. "Hey, Rachel, what's up?" Sarah answered, a hint of concern creeping into her voice. "Sarah, it's Mom," Rachel replied, her words heavy with worry. "She's taken a turn for the worse. The doctors, they say we need to prepare for the possibility that she might not have much time left." Sarah felt the air rush from her lungs, the joy of the evening giving way to a cold, creeping dread. I don't understand. She was doing better, wasn't she? What happened?" "It's her heart," Rachel explained, her voice cracking with emotion. "Sarah, I know this is terrible timing, with your show and everything, but we need you here. Mom needs you." Sarah closed her eyes, her mind reeling as she tried to process the news. She had worked so hard to get to this moment, to prove to herself and the world that she had what it took to make it as an artist. But family always came first. "I'll be there as soon as I can," Sarah promised, her voice steady despite the turmoil raging within her. "Tell Mom I love her, and that I'm on my way." As she ended the call, Sarah felt a wave of guilt and uncertainty wash over her. How could she leave now, just as her dreams were finally within reach? But how could she stay, knowing that her mother, the woman who had raised her, loved her, and believed in her, was slipping away? Sarah took a deep breath, steeling herself for the difficult decisions that lay ahead. She knew that the coming days would test her in ways she had never been tested before, forcing her to confront the delicate balance between her personal and professional lives. But as she looked around the gallery, taking in the faces of the people who had become her second family, Sarah knew that she would not have to face these challenges alone. With the love and support of her friends, and the strength of her own convictions, she would find a way to honor her commitments, both to her art and to her family. As Sarah rejoined the celebration, her heart heavy but her resolve unshaken, she silently vowed to cherish every moment of this triumph, knowing that the road ahead would be filled with unexpected twists and turns. But no matter what the future held, Sarah knew that she would face it with the same courage, resilience, and grace that had brought her to this remarkable moment, surrounded by the people who had believed in her every step of the way. The morning light filtered through the large windows of the Daily Grind as Sarah stepped inside, the events of the previous night still swirling in her mind. The success of her art show, the outpouring of support from her community, and the devastating news about her mother's health all competed for attention in her thoughts. As she began her usual routine, preparing for the day ahead, Sarah was met by Robert, the coffee shop's owner. His warm smile and kind eyes were tinged with a hint of concern as he approached her. "Sarah, my dear," he began, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "I just wanted to say again how incredibly proud I am of you and all that you've accomplished. Last night was a testament to your talent and the impact you've had on this community." Sarah felt a lump form in her throat, touched by Robert's words. "Thank you, Robert. That means the world to me. I couldn't have done it without the support of everyone here." Robert nodded, his expression growing more serious. "I also wanted to reiterate my offer, Sarah. I truly believe that you are the perfect person to take over the Daily Grind when I retire. Your dedication, your creativity, and your ability to bring people together. These are the qualities that have made this place so special." Sarah's heart raced as she considered Robert's offer once again. The opportunity to preserve the legacy of the coffee shop, to continue nurturing the community she had grown to love, was a dream come true. And yet, with her mother's health declining and her own artistic career taking off, the timing couldn't have been more complicated. "I'm honored, Robert," Sarah managed, her voice thick with emotion. I need some time to think it through. With my mom's situation and everything else going on, I want to make sure I'm making the right decision for everyone involved." Robert smiled, his eyes filled with understanding. "Of course, Sarah. Take all the time you need. Just know that whatever you decide, you have my full support and gratitude." As the day progressed, Sarah found herself surrounded by the familiar faces of her regular customers, each one eager to congratulate her on the success of her art show and share how much her work had touched their lives. David, his suit crisp and his smile wide, pulled Sarah into a warm hug. "Sarah, last night was incredible. Seeing your art on those walls, watching you shine, it was a true testament to your talent and your heart." Sarah returned the hug, feeling a mix of joy and uncertainty. "Thank you, David. Your support means everything to me. I just wish things weren't so complicated right now, with my mom and the shop and everything else." David's expression softened, his eyes filled with compassion. "I know it's a lot to handle, Sarah. But remember, you have a whole community here that loves and supports you. We'll be here for you, no matter what." As Sarah moved through her shift, the weight of her impending decision grew heavier. She found herself seeking solace in the company of Jake, her trusted friend and co-worker. "I just don't know what to do, Jake," Sarah confessed, her hands wrapped around a steaming mug of tea. "Robert's offer is a dream come true, but with my mom's health and my art career taking off, I feel like I'm being pulled in a million different directions." Jake listened intently, his brow furrowed in thought. "Sarah, I know it's not an easy choice. But I want you to remember something: your community, your art, your family, they're all part of who you are. And you have the strength and the love to honor all of those parts of yourself." He placed a comforting hand on Sarah's arm, his eyes filled with warmth. "Maybe there's a way to find a balance, to be there for your mom while still pursuing your passions and preserving the legacy of this place. You don't have to choose one over the other." Sarah felt a glimmer of hope at Jake's words. He was right. She had always been someone who found a way to make things work, to find the beauty and the possibility in even the most challenging situations. With a renewed sense of determination, Sarah reached out to her sister, eager to have a heartfelt conversation about their mother's health and the support she needed. "Rachel, I know things are tough right now," Sarah began, her voice trembling slightly. "I want you to know that I'm here for you and Mom, no matter what. But I also need you to understand how much this community and my art mean to me." There was a pause on the other end of the line, and then Rachel's voice, filled with love and understanding. "Sarah, we would never ask you to give up your dreams. Mom wouldn't want that either. We'll find a way to get through this together, as a family." Sarah felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes, overwhelmed by her sister's support. "Thank you, Rachel. Knowing that I have your blessing, that we can find a way to make this work, it means everything." As the day drew to a close and the last customers trickled out of the daily grind, Sarah found herself alone in the quiet space, lost in thought. She ran her fingers along the worn wooden countertops, the walls adorned with art and memories, and felt a deep sense of connection to this place that had become her second home. She thought of Robert's offer, of the opportunity to shape the future of the coffee shop and the community it served. She envisioned a space that not only nurtured creativity and connection but also served as a platform for emerging artists, a place where dreams could take flight. And in that moment, Sarah began to see a path forward, a way to honor her responsibilities to her family while still embracing her role as an artist and a leader in her community. It wouldn't be easy, but she knew that with the love and support of those around her, anything was possible. Just as Sarah was about to lock up for the night, her phone buzzed with an incoming call. She glanced at the screen, surprised to see Emily's name. "Emily, hey." Sarah answered, a smile spreading across her face. "I wasn't expecting to hear from you so soon after the show." "Sarah, I have some exciting news." Emily's voice was filled with energy and enthusiasm. "I was just speaking with a colleague of mine who runs a prestigious art residency program in San Francisco. She saw your work at the show last night and was absolutely blown away." Sarah's heart leapt, a mix of excitement and trepidation washing over her. "That's incredible, Emily. I'm so flattered. She wants to offer you a spot in the program, Sarah. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, 3 months of focused studio time, mentorship from established artists, and the chance to showcase your work at a major gallery." Sarah's mind raced, the implications of this offer swirling in her thoughts. 3 months in San Francisco, immersed in her art, learning and growing alongside other talented creators. It was the kind of opportunity she had always dreamed of. But 3 months away from the daily grind, from the community she had grown to love and the responsibilities she held dear, could she really step away, especially now, with her mother's health in decline and Robert's offer on the table? "Emily, I don't know what to say," Sarah managed, her voice filled with conflicting emotions. "It's an incredible opportunity, but the timing, there's just so much going on right now." "I understand, Sarah." Emily's voice was filled with empathy. "It's a big decision, and I know you have a lot on your plate. But I want you to really consider this. Opportunities like this don't come along every day. And I truly believe that you have something special to offer the world through your art." As the call ended, Sarah felt torn, her heart pulled in opposing directions. She had always dreamed of dedicating herself fully to her art, of pushing herself to new heights and exploring her potential. But she also knew that her role at the daily grind, her connection to this community, was a vital part of who she was. Standing there in the quiet of the coffee shop, Sarah realized that she had a choice to make, a choice that would shape the course of her future and the lives of those around her. And while the path ahead was uncertain, one thing was clear: no matter what she decided, she would face it with the love, the courage, and the unwavering support of the community that had become her family. With a deep breath and a heart full of hope, Sarah stepped out into the night, ready to embrace the unexpected twists and turns that lay ahead. For in the end, she knew that the true measure of a life well lived was not in the destination, but in the journey, and in the love and the laughter shared along the way. The warm glow of the afternoon sun streamed through the windows of the daily grind as Sarah stood before a gathering of her closest friends and confidants. Her heart raced with a mix of excitement and nervousness as she prepared to share the news that would change the course of her life and the future of the beloved coffee shop. "Thank you all for being here today," Sarah began, her voice trembling slightly with emotion. "I've called you together because I have an important announcement to make, one that wouldn't be possible without the love, support, and encouragement you've shown me over these past few years." She took a deep breath, her eyes shining with gratitude as she looked around at the faces of those who had become her family. "With the help of Jake and the unwavering support of this incredible community, I've decided to take over the daily grind from Robert and become its new owner." A chorus of cheers and applause erupted from the group, their faces beaming with pride and joy. Sarah felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes, overwhelmed by the outpouring of love and support. "I know that this is a huge responsibility," Sarah continued, her voice growing stronger with each word. "But I also know that, together, we have the power to create something truly special, a haven for creativity, connection, and community where everyone feels welcome and valued." As Sarah outlined her vision for the future of the coffee shop, her friends listened intently, their eyes sparkling with excitement and possibility. They offered ideas and suggestions, their enthusiasm and dedication a testament to the unbreakable bonds they had forged within these walls. In the days that followed, Sarah worked tirelessly to prepare for the transition of ownership. She met with Robert, seeking his guidance and wisdom as she navigated the challenges of running a business. "Sarah, my dear," Robert began, his eyes filled with warmth and admiration. "When I first opened the daily grind, I had no idea the impact it would have on so many lives. But watching you grow and blossom over these past few years, seeing the way you've touched the hearts of everyone who walks through those doors, I know that this shop is in the best possible hands." Sarah felt a lump form in her throat, moved by Robert's faith in her. "Thank you, Robert. I promise to honor the legacy you've built here and to infuse it with my own passion and creativity. This community, it's not just a place, it's a part of who I am." As they embraced, Sarah felt a sense of continuity, a passing of the torch from one generation to the next. She knew that the spirit of the daily grind would endure, as long as there were people who believed in the power of human connection and the magic of a perfectly brewed cup of coffee. Amidst the whirlwind of preparations, Sarah took a moment to reach out to Emily, her mentor and friend from the art world. She shared her decision to stay and take over the coffee shop, her voice filled with a mix of gratitude and determination. Emily, I can't thank you enough for the incredible opportunity you've offered me, Sarah began, her heart full. But I've realized that my place is here, with my community and the people I love. This coffee shop, it's not just a business, it's a part of my heart, and I believe that I can create something truly meaningful and lasting here. Emily's voice was warm with understanding and support. Sarah, I admire your dedication and your vision. You have a rare gift, the ability to bring people together and to inspire them to be their best selves. If anyone can create a space that nurtures both art and community, it's you. They discussed ways to collaborate, to bring the art world to the coffee shop through exhibitions, workshops, and events. Sarah's heart soared with possibility, her mind racing with ideas to showcase the talent and creativity of her beloved community. As the day of the grand reopening approached, Sarah's family arrived in town to celebrate her new beginning. Her mother, still recovering from her illness but filled with an indomitable spirit, embraced Sarah tightly, her eyes brimming with tears of joy. "My sweet girl," she whispered, her voice filled with pride. "I always knew that you had a special light within you, a gift for bringing joy and comfort to others. Seeing you build a life that encompasses your artistic dreams and your love for your community, it's the greatest gift a mother could ask for." Sarah's sister, her constant support and confidant, joined in the embrace. "I'm so proud of you, Sarah. And I promise to visit as often as I can to be a part of this incredible community you've created." On the morning of the reopening, Sarah stood before the doors of the Daily Grind, her heart filled with a sense of purpose and belonging. As she turned the key and stepped inside, she was greeted by the smiling faces of her friends and customers, eager to celebrate this new chapter together. Sarah revealed her plans to transform the coffee shop into a vibrant hub for local artists, featuring rotating exhibitions and creative events. She spoke of her vision for a space that nurtured not only the body with delicious coffee and treats but also the soul with art, music, and meaningful conversations. As her words filled the room, Sarah felt a swell of emotion, a deep gratitude for the journey that had brought her to this moment. She looked around at the faces of those who had become her family, David, Ethel, Mike, Jake, and so many others, and knew that together they could weather any storm and celebrate any triumph. In the months that followed, the Daily Grind flourished under Sarah's leadership. Her art exhibitions became a staple of the local community, attracting new patrons and fostering meaningful connections between artists and art lovers. The coffee shop buzzed with energy and creativity, a testament to the power of Sarah's vision and the strength of the bonds she had nurtured. 1 year later, as Sarah stood behind the counter, surveying the vibrant scene before her, she couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey that had brought her to this moment. She thought of the challenges she had faced, the doubts she had overcome, and the love she had found in the most unexpected places. She thought of her father, whose artistic spirit and unwavering belief in her had been a guiding light throughout her life. She thought of her mother, whose strength and resilience had taught her the true meaning of courage. And she thought of the countless friends and customers who had become a part of her heart, each one a thread in the beautiful tapestry of her life. As Sarah served up cups of steaming coffee and warm smiles, she knew that she was exactly where she was meant to be, surrounded by art, by love, and by the unbreakable bonds of community. And with each passing day, she looked forward to the future with hope, gratitude, and an unwavering commitment to living a life filled with purpose, passion, and the joy of human connection. For Sarah, the Daily Grind was more than just a coffee shop, it was a testament to the power of dreams, the strength of the human spirit, and the incredible things that can happen when we open our hearts to the world around us. And as she watched her customers laugh, share stories, and create memories within these walls, she knew that the true magic of life lay not in the destination, but in the journey and in the love and laughter shared along the way.